You're listening to 94.4 FM. This is Salford City Radio. My name is Carl Royle, and this is What's Happening Salford. Thank you once again for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon between 12 and 1. As always, we've got some very, very special guests on. I am very excited about this week's guests, to be honest. I'm always excited about our guests. But I was lucky enough to work with one of these young ladies last year, and it really piqued my interest in what they do. And so they're going to be coming in after the next record. So I don't want to spill the beans, but thank you for all the feedback on last week's show as well. One of the new features that we did was all the music had a connection. So I've done the same again this week. So we don't just throw the show together, you know. We put some thought into it. So there was David Bowie was the first record, and all the artists have something in common this week. The same as last week, actually. I think last week was James Bond themed. They'd all done a James Bond theme. But this week, it is all the artists have something in common. And it's not that obscure, but I've tried this on a few people. Not everybody's got it. It's good. So hope you've had a good week. I've had an absolute cracker. I was on Sunday. I was at Salford Reds. I was entertaining in the boxes there, and I got to meet some really, really nice people. I got to meet the foundation people on. They do some interesting work, and we're hoping to have those on in April. I think those guys are coming on. And then, I don't know if you know this, I went to an event. It was in Knutsford, it wasn't in Salford, and I've never seen so many mayors. I was going to start with saying I've had a mayor of a week. There was I think there was about 25 mayors in the room, and it was apparently a lot of mayors together is called a chain gang. I don't know if you knew that. That's what they call themselves, a chain gang. So there's a little bit of knowledge that you didn't have at the start of the day. And then I met the Mayor of Manchester as well on Sunday, Mr. Burnham. He was very nice. So what we're going to do, we're going to play another record, and then we're going to get the ladies in. I'm going to talk to you all about the work they do. I don't want to give too much away. I was so blown away by the work that you do. So today we have Sherelle and Trina from Depaul Charity. Is that the right way of saying that?
Yeah.
It's Depaul Charity.
Depaul UK.
So Depaul UK. Yeah. So what we're going to do is I want you to tell us a little bit about Depaul, because when I got involved with you last year for the first time, I didn't know anything about the group at all. So one of the things we'll share with everybody before you go into that, you deal with the problem of homelessness, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, youth homelessness. So under 25s mostly. Yeah,
and one of the things I was blown away with, which you're going to get on to later, is the prevention side that you work on. I know you're going to talk to me a lot about that. So Sherelle, do you want to talk to me about Depaul as a charity? So just to give people an overview of what the charity is all about.
Yeah, of course. So Depaul, we work with young people, that's 16 to 25 years old, at risk of homelessness. They, males and females, it's really no criteria except their experience. We have supported accommodation across Greater Manchester, but we are a national charity. Well, we're international, technically. Yep. So we're one of the largest homeless charities in the world. And we have supported accommodation across Manchester, and that's where staff can support young people who need support around their well-being and working towards their independence and development. And people come to us from all walks of life, have very different experiences of homelessness, but they're all looking for some support in this time.
So when you say supported accommodation, a lot of people would know that as hostels or things like. One of the things that struck me, and I don't know if this is the right way of looking at it, is you're looking for more of a permanent fix.
So we don't look at it as kind of just an emergency accommodation, a temporary overnight hostels. We're looking for people we can work with long term and give them support towards their own tenancy, whether that be another appropriate supported housing. or getting their own flat. It could be either way, but really, or it could be that we're working with them so they can go back to their family if they've had a family breakdown, and we're trying to support people just find the right path for them, really. But yeah, I like to say we're more than just accommodation. We're trying to support people with more independence, so give them skills around like life skills, but also help them around their education, employment if there's areas that they want to work on.
Yeah, I was really careful in the way that I've tried to word this, because when you say you're more than, I don't want to sound as if that's belittling any other work that anybody else does in the homeless sector, because everybody does amazing work, and I've been very, very fortunate at charity events and things like that to work with people. But I was lucky enough to do some work with you hands-on. We might talk about that further down the line. I don't want to talk about me.
It's almost like we have a wider remit to work with, rather than just the accommodation. Is we work with more than that, not because we work more than homelessness. It's just
and then
more with.
And then Trina, you work on an offshoot from Depaul, which is and which you started to tell me about before, but I didn't want all the juicy bits. So I wanted to stop you. Don't stop. Tell me on air. I want you to tell me all about what you do.
So I work for Night Stop UK. It's owned by Depaul, but there are many night stops around the UK not run by Depaul. So we provide a spare room for young people within volunteers' homes. So it's someone who has a spare room or anything that they consider a space that is closable to a young person, to give them a bed for the night, a warm meal, somewhere to sleep, a chat, a breakfast in the morning and a packed lunch for the day, for whatever they're doing.
I think my reaction to that when you told me that outside was amazing, because for people to do that and to volunteer to do that, it probably takes a special kind of person anyway.
Yes, definitely.
And this is something that I worked with you in when we did this work last year, how I came across Depaul. So I don't mind talking about that. It was very, very much. It was Rochdale. Was it Rochdale? There was a little bit in Manchester. I can't remember. Oldham was the other one. But one of the reasons you're doing quite a bit of work in Salford, aren't you?
Yes, so we have work.
I will always bring it back to Salford. I will do that.
Yeah, we have hosts in Salford, so that's fine. We have a remit of Greater Manchester, so everywhere within the Greater Manchester border we will work with, but we have specifically Salford and every other area, but Salford we have 5 hosts within the area. And we're recruiting, I think, through the process about 3 at the moment. So it's quite a long process to go through because of the stringencies it takes, and we have to make sure everything's in place. So there's going to be quite a few hosts in Salford within the next 6 months, I'd say.
Which would be brilliant. So,
it's brilliant.
And do people find you, or do you find them?
Oh, well, we have a mixture.
No,
we have a proper mixture of the few, because we get them from everywhere. So we would prefer we get a referral from someone who knows the young person. So because we can get them from the organisations that work with homelessness in general, but we are getting them a lot from Salford City College. We have quite a good relationship with them, but we also get them from anyone who knows the young person. So we'll sometimes get an email from someone who's Googled homelessness services for young people and gone, "Can you help us?" But we have no remit, so as long as you are someone who is suitable to go into a volunteer's home, we will work with you. And if it's not us, we'll pass you on to someone who will work with you. And that's why me and Sherelle work together a lot. Because we get people who go, actually, we're not appropriate for you, but you can volunteer with them as part of your steps out of homelessness.
Yeah, so it's very joined up thinking within the group, isn't it?
Yeah, we are.
Helps that we sit next to each other.
Yeah, because we literally sit next to each other.
So it's more joined up, leaning on each other. What are you doing? So anyway, we're going to play another record. Remember, there is a little game that we play, which we've not given you the answer to as well. And I quite like the fact you were quite into this. It's just a good job you can't see over the other side of this desk, because it's all written out. Well, the records are trying to throw me out today, aren't they? I don't know. I don't know what happened there. So anyway, my computer was telling me I had a minute left on that record, and it just finished. So, but you know what? We've got a winner on the record thing. After 3 records, I'm gutted. And the ladies in the office are all going, "Oh, was that it? Is that all it was?" But I'm not going to tell you yet. So Jamie Johnson, well done, #1 listener. He is a friend of mine, actually, but I didn't tell him what we were going to do. But well done, yes, and thank you for listening on your dinner hour. That's very nice of you. That's what I think he does. I think he pops out and just listens on his dinner hour, which is cracking. Anyway, we're going to talk about Depaul Group, Depaul Charity. And when the record was on, one of the things that's very, very apparent is that you're looking all the time for volunteers for different roles, aren't you?
Yeah.
Definitely.
I love it. Definitely. Yes.
Always.
It's a continuing, ongoing process.
And you know, since I've started doing this is our 11th show. You asked me before. I don't think I answered your question. So this is the 11th week I've done this, and everybody and the people that have been on are all people who do things for people and work in volunteer organisations. And it's so obvious. There's so many opportunities for people out there to get involved with things, and until people hear about them and hear about those opportunities, they wouldn't even know. And it's not always the people who hear this, that someone might hear this and go, oh, I know somebody who that would be good for.
That happens a lot.
And so I think that networking thing of the way that gets passed on is so important. So you have a process, I'm guessing, within your organisation to put round pegs in round holes. You're looking at me. Is that right?
Just process that one for a second.
Exactly.
Because not everybody's suitable for every role, are they? So I'm sure you find out. So what's your process at Depaul if people wanted to get involved with you?
For which, the first thing would be is, what do you actually want to do?
I knew you were going to talk first.
Yeah, because if you give us a call and just talk to us, we'll find something for you no matter what. There's always something to do. Obviously, for my role, it's always, do you have a spare room? If you don't, I'll pass you on to someone who needs volunteers.
Yes.
But for me, the first step is, do you have a room? An empty room, whether it's a single bed, whether it's a double bed, whatever size, shape, or literally anything. I've seen all types.
Yeah.
All it takes is a spare room, and that's just the first step. And then you call us. There's also that.
And so that's a very hands-on thing for a volunteer to do, is to get involved.
Yeah.
That's pretty ground level with people who've got nowhere to stay and to provide a bed for the night, isn't it?
Yes. So if you call us, we'll have a conversation. The joys of Night Stopper is very, very flexible to whatever you want, because we're not going to come in and say we want you every single night, no matter what, from 5 o'clock till 5 o'clock in the morning. We've got you. We'll have a conversation with you and say, what do you have to offer? If you got a class on a Wednesday and a Thursday, do you want to volunteer on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and a Saturday? Do you want to do 2 nights a week? Do you want to do 4? All you really need is a conversation with us to come round. It's usually me. Come round to your house, have a little chat, pet all your dogs. It's my favourite bit.
You're quite hands-on, aren't you?
It is. It's my favourite bit, especially the dogs and the cats and any animal.
Is that compulsory that anybody who
if
is
you've got me,
to
then
offer
yes,
you've got to have an animal?
I will extend the interview.
Okay, fair enough.
To pet the dogs. Yes, we'll come around, have a chat. We'll fill out just a little bit of the health and safety side of things. We'll do a DBS check just to make sure that we're all safe and covered. Do some training with you, and then you're good to go. So it sometimes can take time, more because of the process of getting a group of people together to run the training. But besides for that, it's not your side of things who has to do. It's me who has to do the work, not you. Yeah. If that makes sense.
And most of the accommodations you're looking for, city centre accommodations, or is it pretty sporadic?
Anywhere you've got a room, someone will choose to travel to that. It's better than sleeping in a park. We've had people sleeping in doorways who've been told, or sleeping on the corner of their grandmother's floor. Anything is better than that. So even if they have to take an hour and a half bus travel, they have the right to refuse.
Yeah.
But if they're actually stuck, they will say yes, and they will be very grateful for a warm place to stay.
Yeah, and as I said when we were talking earlier, I knew a little bit about some of the work you do, and because I got very interested about Depaul last year, and I didn't know about that side of it at all. And that is so practical and hands-on. It's an awesome thing that you're doing, and the volunteers are doing as well.
Yeah, it's filling a need that no one really thinks we could help, but actually, you can. And it's something so simple, but it fills a gap in some place, because otherwise you've got nowhere for some of these people, especially if they're fleeing violence or somewhere that they will prefer to be anywhere but where they're supposed to be, that they're better somewhere with a volunteer who kind of knows what they're doing. And it's not a clinical environment, it's someone's home, so they've got a shower that's nice. It's not somewhere that's like all tiled up and feeling like almost like a prison.
Yeah, I know what you mean by feeling clinical.
Yeah, if you're
feel like homely.
Exactly, and you've got someone's dinner table, someone really lives there, so it's their home.
Yeah.
That you'll be going into. They'll welcome you as if you're a guest, not as if you're here because you're homeless and let's help you. It's come stay with us, let's have a chat.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a chat, go have a bath, go have a sleep, go watch a DVD, come watch TV with me, have a nice hot meal, get some sleep. for some people, it's the first proper night's sleep they'll have in a while.
It's one of the observations when we were talking before, and let's say the very, very small amount of exposure I've had to the charity is the people I met were young.
Yeah.
Really young.
Very young.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just, I want to say young, you're not talking mid-20s, late 20s young, we're talking teenage young.
Talking about just hitting their 16th birthday young, some of them.
Yeah, and that was a shock to me. And I got to hear some stories and backgrounds and things that just absolutely blew my mind. And I don't think it's what comes into most people's heads when you start talking about the homelessness problem.
Yes.
So
that is our biggest feedback on Greater Manchester the Night Stop has been running for a year. Alderman's been running for a few more, but Night Stop in Manchester, so I'm doing reviews with people who've been with us for a while, and that's their biggest thing is we weren't expecting the young people to walk in. Some of them are full-time employed, some of them are in college full-time or in uni full-time, but also some of them are 17, 18, and they're not 25, 27, 30-year-olds who have had a bit of life. They literally are in that situation because of nothing they've done most of the time.
Which is frightening, isn't it?
It is really frightening.
And so on the Night Stopper side, I love the name, Night Stopper side. And so if people come on, they've not got rooms to offer, but they'd like to be involved in some way, and then they come to Shroud.
Yes, that's where I come in. So
that was a silky passover, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
Although I feel like I should plug the fact that we use drivers.
Yes, I was going to say. So there are so many opportunities to volunteer in Depaul, and I never want, if anyone goes onto our website, I never want anyone to be put off if there's a role there that doesn't sound quite like them. Always get in touch because we can make roles to suit you. Like, people have so much to offer and they're always coming to us with new ideas. So most of the time I'm looking for mentors. So mentors are to support the young people one-to-one with the personal goals that the young people have. So if they want help getting a job or support going to appointments, or they want to improve their health and fitness, they want someone to kind of help them sign up to a gym, for example, we can use mentors to do that. But if you feel like you don't want to do one-to-one work and you'd be more interested in doing group activities or supporting or welcoming people to a new space, we also have the hub. So the Depaul hub is on Oxford Road, and it's a safe place where people can come, they can drop in, and young people can get support from volunteers and from staff. So we're always looking for different opportunities. You don't have to have a particular set of skills.
Yeah. If you have a skill that you want to share, talk to her.
It's great, yeah. But if you just really want to be able to support in some way, we can make roles to suit you, and we're very, very open-minded. So I don't want people to be put off if they don't think that they're very good at a certain subject. Like, always come and talk to us.
So again, the process would be initially obviously get in touch, and then you're going to look for, one, what people are looking for, and two, what you're looking for, and then looking if you can marry.
And we normally can find somewhere in the middle that always works.
There's always something. So, I don't think we've ever had a no, like, oh, sorry, no, we can't help you.
Said no to anyone.
No.
If you've got the time to commit, and that can be an hour a week, or we have people that just come and help us for like once a month. We do a movie night, for example, and that's all they do. That one time a month at the hub, they do a movie night. Or we have people that work with us weekly. They'll do a job shop. Like, it really varies, but I don't like to say no. So we're always open-minded, and we'll find somewhere in the middle. We'll have a chat. We'll look at what you're interested in. We'll look at availability, and then we'll move from there. And I will support you with training and applications and things like that.
But you do think outside the box as well, because I've seen that, one personally, but two with other people that I know. In fact, somebody who's coming on the show in April works with you, and he encourages the people who stay in the hostels with you to keep fit, doesn't he? George, give George a mention.
Yes,
yeah.
George.
I used to work in one of the projects that he works with, and he has got so many of them running. But
it's unbelievable, actually.
Exactly. In the same way, we've got an interest from someone who can't do very much, but they are a dance teacher. So I went, why don't you talk to them? Run a dance session. It could be once. It could be every week for a year. It's up to them. So you really just, any skill you want to share, you want to develop, you want to learn. Photography, we've got someone else doing that.
Yeah, we've got someone.
One of our hosts does photography.
Yeah.
So we've passed him on to Sharon. Gone, why didn't you do
helping people who might want to learn photography skills? Like, it's so varied, and that's why I don't like to put there's no restrictions on it because it's all about the volunteer and what they feel that they can share and they want to give.
But
it really is.
The reason I've taken you down this route is because what I saw, and especially with the work that George is doing, I've had a chat with him in the last week or so, and he was saying like a couple of the guys are doing marathons, and he's helped to train them up. So they've gone from such low self-esteem to something that they've really got a goal, and it's helping their confidence, and to have something that everybody thinks is amazing to work towards. He's got that, and he's got a few lads from Salford doing the London Marathon.
Yes,
he does.
And, who's on the ball? Hey,
yeah,
it's like to research and everything.
So it started from 5Ks and 10Ks, but we've had people complete the London Marathon now.
Yeah,
Manchester Marathon, and more people are training up for it. And these were people that kind of didn't engage with anything before, and like you said, might not have had much confidence, and just having that kind of regular activity, that routine, getting outside, having some fresh air has done the world of good for them. And giving them a bit of like structure.
It's really helped mental health, running in general.
Absolutely.
Really good for your mental health.
Of course it does. And I mean, we had a few weeks ago, we had Duncan Mason on, who runs Salford Harrier Juniors. So, and we were talking about that. There's so many benefits for sport within every walk of life, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yes,
one of the things I remember, I did a workshop in I think it was in Rochdale with some of your guys, and as soon as the workshop finished, what I remembered is it was this with Scarpard, and I thought, oh, thanks very much. Like, I don't know, we enjoyed it, but we're going running with George.
Yeah. See you later.
That does happen.
And he's like, we've got to be out of here, we've got to go. Anyway, I'm going to play another record. Remember, I've not given you the answer yet, have you? I've given you the answers.
Yes.
But you know, don't give anything away. We've had one right answer through the... This is What's Happening Salford, and today we've got people from Depaul charity, Depaul UK, talking about everything they do, and I'm blown away. I'm just sat here going, I can't believe the work that you do and who you get involved. And it's so while that record was on, we were talking about another volunteering role that you get people to do, which again, these are all things that I don't think other people would talk about and would be aware. You just don't think about it. So you were talking about your drivers.
Yeah, so people who don't have a room because of the space or wherever they live, if they had a car, then we do volunteer drivers in the sense that they will pick up a young person and take them somewhere. So for example, we get a referral from Bolton and they need to go to Stockport, or someone within Bolton to Bolton, or hospital to anywhere, Salford to Salford, you name it, we're going to have young people going somewhere. And if they don't have a bus pass, or if they're a bit more nervous or they don't really speak English, we have volunteers who will pick them up and drive them. But as well, if you don't have a car, we have something called a chaperone. So someone who will go on public transport with the young person to the volunteer's home, because it can be nerve-wracking for someone, especially if they're young and it's their first time using Night Stop, to knock on someone random's house and go, "You expecting me?"
Yeah, can I stay here for the night?
Exactly. Yeah. Because we've had people who knocked on the wrong doors thinking that they put in their Google Maps on the wrong address. So that can be nerve. We get a phone call at 8 o'clock at night going, "Oh my God, I'm in the right place." Well, as a chaperone kind of sorts that. And also that means that they're responsible, and if something goes wrong, they are the ones who can call out of hours and go, "This is what's happened. What do I do?" See, we've always got... Whatever you want to do, we'll find something for you to do, is what we're getting out of this.
I think you're getting that message across.
Yeah.
Is that sound of desperation in your voice then? Anybody, anything, we'll
literally
do anything.
anyone. We will find something for you. We want to work with you if you want to work with us.
Exactly. We have great volunteers.
We do.
Honestly, we're always blown away by the amount of effort that volunteers make every day, especially with hosts. Like, it is a big role to take, but it makes such an impact, such a difference. It's unbelievable. So we sound desperate, but that's not lack of because we don't have volunteers, but we always just need more. We always need more. There's always more support that can be had.
I think that's in every organisation I've spoken to over the last 10, 11 weeks are in that boat where they want more volunteers, because more hands make lighter work, don't they, I suppose, and that knowledge, it's like you said, whether it be something that's a practical thing that seems is a confidence builder, through to people who are going out and taking people to places and being quite on the ground, hardcore, really.
It builds up the volunteer skills, but it builds up the young person way more than they can ever imagine. And you get people who are sleeping in doorways going to a nice warm home, curled up by a fire, eating a nice hot meal, and it's the stark difference in that.
There's a massive reward kickback to this, isn't there?
Yes.
From a volunteer point of view.
Absolutely.
If you're going to mentor somebody, or if you're going to make sure that even knowing that you've made sure somebody's had a bed for the night, I'm sure the feedback, the way that you feel about that is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a very good feeling to know that what you've done, however small or big, is really, really impactful on someone's life. And the feedback we get from the young people, it's never about the size of the bed or the meal. It's about that person made me feel nice, made me feel special, and maybe they listened to me if I wanted to talk. And that's just something that no one really gets if you're homeless, no one really stops to listen to you. And when you're a young person and homeless, especially if you've come from a difficult background, you don't want to be a therapist for them, but you just need someone to, what's up? Well, how's your day been? What are you doing tomorrow? Yeah. How's college going? And just have that normal interaction with someone without the homelessness being the biggest issue on the table, which you tend not to get.
So when I got to meet you guys, one of the things that had the biggest impact on me and why I saw you as being slightly different in the I don't want to say in the wrong way, was the supported accommodation and the way that works. I wasn't aware of these facilities for people. I think I'd probably seen homelessness on the firefighting side a little bit more. So can you just talk to me a little bit about the supported accommodation and how that works sort of within the Greater Manchester area?
Supported accommodation, like I was briefly saying before, we want to offer a safe place for young people to stay, but that also comes with support staff. So 24/7 there is a support worker available for young people to be able to access, and they get to work with them on not just their housing needs, but also other goals that they have. So it's anything working towards improving their well-being or improving those skills to be more independent.
Yeah, but these are amazing facilities. They're not little shacks, are they?
No.
A full one-bedroom flat with a living room and a kitchen and a bathroom.
That was the thing that when I went to 3, I saw 3 last year.
Yeah,
and each one, they were very, very different. But everybody who was there, you could see they felt safe, they felt comfortable, and it was you could see it was a very important part of their life at that moment in time. I think if you talk about a hostel or anything, I think it might conjure up an idea in people's heads that is slightly different to something I saw.
No, I don't. That's why I don't like to use the word hostel, because you think there's one room with 6 bunk beds in and things like that. It's not like that at all. When young people come to us, they have their own room, they have their own tenancy in that accommodation. So it's not about cramming people into rooms. It's about giving people the space and the safe place that they need to be able to work on what they need to do to kind of, I suppose,
manage their tenancy when they move out.
Tenancy, it's learning those skills.
And you say tenancy, and on average, if somebody comes to you and finds you or you find them, how long do they end up staying with you?
With us, it's different than with the supported accommodation. With us, we can tend to get up to 3 weeks, but obviously we can extend it further. But we tend to be used for a night or two until we work out where their accommodation can be. Because a lot of times, it's the minute they're accessing us, people are going, "Oh, actually, no, you could live with us." But for a supported accommodation, it's a little different.
Yeah, so I would say normally around 6 months, but it can be up to a year. It really is dependent on the individual. But we are always aiming towards what we call positive move-ons. So positive move-on doesn't mean you have to go and get your own one-bed flat, which would be nice, but it's not always the most appropriate move for someone. So it could be another supported accommodation that helps their needs better, or it could be that they've moved back in with family, or it could be that they moved in with a mate, or they've gone into a professional let. Whatever it is, we're just trying to make sure it's the right move for them and that they can manage it. We don't want to start a circle of homelessness, and that's one thing we want to avoid. So that's why we work with people longer term, rather than, it's not a hostel where it's quick turnover and just loads of beds and loads of names. It's like, you know who you're working with and you're working towards that next step for them.
And that's the bit I was fortunate to see, and I was absolutely blown away by the work that you guys do. I'm going to ask you a leading question here. I did ask it before. Are things getting better?
Yeah, we're talking about this.
You laughed outside as well.
Yeah.
Because it's a very difficult question to answer, because with Depaul itself, we are. Because we're managing better. We've just recruited an education worker and a family worker, so we're aiming more on the prevention side. So for us personally, as a company and a charity, it's getting better within. Externally,
it's hard to say if it's getting better, but like,
it's getting more visible.
I think agencies are working better, but I don't know if
it's getting more visible, and I think we're at the time where we're finally counting our homeless properly and efficiently, and it probably could be better, but we're doing better than before. So I think it will look really bad for a few years until we realise what's actually out there, and then we can put in the things in place to alleviate that. So difficult to answer.
I can see that.
Yeah, it is.
But also, I think people's perception is that it's not getting much better on the streets, is it?
The difference between homelessness that we work with versus the homelessness that is out there is that a lot of our homelessness are hidden homelessness.
Yeah.
So it's people who are living on couches or in cars or on someone's floor or in a hotel or anywhere, but not on the street. So the street homelessness is completely separate, but also part of what we do.
Of course,
so we will get the people who are coming in from street homelessness, but we're trying to get them before they end up there, so they don't end up there.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing when I spoke to you earlier was the first thing you said, we're part of prevention. And that's a massive thing, isn't it? You want to get to those kids before it gets to a certain stage, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, we've got to play another record. I'm going to play one more, then we'll give you the answer to the quiz, and then we're going to get all your details from 94.4 FM. This is Salford City Radio. My name's Royle, and this is What's Happening Salford. Well, I could not have had two nicer people in with us today. I've learnt so much. I hope you have. And what we're going to do, we're going to put all the information onto our Facebook page, which is What's Happening Salford 94.4 FM. I don't know why I'm drawing that in the air. The girls are laughing at me here. They don't know what I don't know what I'm doing. We'll make sure all your information, a couple of pictures we took before as well. And you're thrilled about that, aren't you? What we'll do, we'll make sure all your details and your websites and your numbers and everything. Did you get the quiz?
I didn't.
Would you not have got it?
I wouldn't have got it. I would have got it.
Okay, well, the answer was every artist we've played today appeared on Live Aid.
I should have guessed from seeing the CD on your desk, but I didn't.
Didn't get it.
You did see that. So we're going to play it. So thanks for coming in today.
No, thank you.
And I think you have got your message across.
I hope so.
I've learned so much, and I hope other people have as well. So we're going to play out with Howard Jones, who was on Live Aid, and this is What Is Love.